Chief Whip.
Honorable Councillors, could you please rise and remain standing while the Speaker and the Executive Mayor are entering the chamber?
Thank you very much. You may be seated.
Notice is here given of a special council meeting of City of Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality to be held on Wednesday, the 18th of March 2020 at 10 o'clock in the council chamber or Tambo Government Precinct in Jimiston to consider matters which appear on the agenda. First item, singing of National Anthem.
Thank you very much. May we all rise and sing our national anthem. Please lead us.
Kosi sigeleli Afrika, malupaganyisu pondolwayo, swai murena buluka sichaba sa Yesu, ufedise dintwali matwenye, usibuluke si chabasa Yesu si chabasa South Africa Edi blow fan on seyeme Edi deep Stefan on siye Word ons geven gebetes van die grootste antwoord geven. Sounds the call to come together and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
Thank you very much. While we're still standing, let us get a councillor, Alderman Mutara, a prayer, short prayer or meditation.
Separating us at arm's length it is also sending a clear message as to what difficulties we may be facing countrywide, and we call on people get out of this successfully, and in your guidance, we ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Reading of the convening notice.
Opening and welcome.
Thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity and welcome our Honorable Executive Mayor, Councillor Mzwandile Masina, Chief Whip of Council, Councillor Jongizi, in terms of our council standing orders. Attendance registers have been circulated to determine the quorum. Indeed, we do form a quorum. ANC 105, DA 24, AIC 4, IRASA 1, PA 1, EFF, they've given us the attendance registers with signatures and physical or warm bodies present, 135. Our quorum is 113 because in trying to comply with the directive, as this council, we have taken the following precautionary measures to ensure the safety of councillors, officials in the essential services and the media. One, today's council meeting will be held in 3 separate venues, which are this one, the new council chamber, the old council chamber, and the ESCO room, which are all situated in this precinct. The 3 venues will be digitally linked to one another to avoid the number of councillors in one venue. All 3 venues are now declared the council chamber for the purposes of this meeting in terms of Rule 5 of the council standing orders. Councillors will be divided into 3 groups in order to comply with the President's directive of having a gathering of less than 100. We have 224 councillors and the newest our council program to 1 day, meaning that it will be the State of the City address by the Executive Mayor. Later this afternoon, it will be the debate on the SOCA, and lastly, we will meet for the ordinary council meeting because we've got 3 important items that need council decision, and it must happen in the month of March. The public is prohibited to attend all our council meetings until further notice. We have provided masks for everyone who will be part of this meeting, those who wish to have those masks. We have sanitized all the 3 venues, including the desks and mics. We have health practitioners from our Department of Health and paramedics from our Disaster Management Division who will assist us in terms of emergency. We have also sanitized all the 3 chambers. We have dealt with the spacing issue, as you can see, by having 3 separate meeting venues. Eating areas have also been separated to ensure that people are loaded in one place. On behalf of this council, I request our residents to adhere to the safety measures as mentioned by the President. And as the city, I think the Executive Mayor will give us direction on how we are going to assist to reduce or combat this virus. I welcome you all to the centers, understanding that the numbers are going to be limited. We have not invited any member of the public to any of our...
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Alderwoman Patricia Kumalo, the Chief Whip of Councillor Jongizi Labati.
Speaker.
Councillor Mujatau.
Yeah, thanks. Speaker, we have taken a very difficult decision to come and attend this meeting based on the fact that there are precautionary measures that are taken by yourselves as people who are responsible for this gathering. Now, as we entered here, we're given masks. But if we check here in the House, a lot of our colleagues, particularly from the DA side, they're not wearing the masks. So all of us were afraid of this coronavirus. So it's a concern that has been raised now by members of our caucus to to say, can you get clarity? Maybe they are not affected by the same coronavirus that we are afraid of. Can we be cleared so that we are safe? Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mujatau. Members sitting here come from different political parties, and coming from different political parties, they have their own mandate, which cannot be enforced. We have taken precautionary measures based on what is expected of us as public officials. So we needed to ensure that in terms of that directive by the President, we do comply. So this is not the meeting to debate
procedure and why the meeting is called or not called. We're speaking in terms of coronavirus precautionary measures, which led to us sitting like this, whereby you had to use 3 different areas to conduct this sitting. As we come in here, there is a precautionary measure. We sanitize our hands, we are given masks, all of us. And the health staff here insists that you can't come in.
Chief Whip? Oh, okay.
You can't come in here if you don't have a mask. Now, we are raising a genuine issue of practicality that our members from the DA side are not having masks. Only one member of the DA we can see that is wearing a mask. Now, we want to know, because this is a health issue.
Thank you very much, Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I think leading up to the meeting, the necessary measures were communicated and subsequently put in place. And rightfully, as the whip of EFF is saying, it includes, amongst others, masks, sanitization of our hands, sanitization of the furniture we're sitting in, but also, Madam Speaker, the important one, keeping the distance. Now, we note that the members of the Democratic Alliance are not wearing the mask as one of the precautionary measures. But I'd want to appreciate, Madam Speaker, that in terms of the spacing, whether they are wearing the masks or not, it should not ordinarily affect all of us, given the spacing. So I would want to propose, Madam Speaker, that we proceed, because in my view is that, for instance, they are far away from the ANC in terms of the distance. The major speaker says there must be a 1 meter distance, yes, between each other. So if Whip wants a measuring tape, we can get a measuring tape, Whip Mjata, to confirm if there is a 1 meter.
Can I take Alderman Dilange?
Speaker, thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity. I'd like to put the DA's position as to why we're not wearing masks, Madam Speaker. I think those measures are there, and I want to appreciate what the Speaker and the Mayor has done to ensure that the institution is safeguarded, the precinct is safeguarded, and all measures are put in place. From the DA side, I want to read what the World Health Organization says pertaining to the wear of masks. And I think we need to take a cue, not from what people say, what the media says. We need to take a cue from those who are informed. Because firstly, I need to state that the virus is not airborne until somebody can tell me that they've seen that it is, because it's not. Then second, it says if you are healthy, and you only need to wear a mask if you are taking care of a person that is suspected of having the virus. Or it says if you are suspected that you have ill health, or you are coughing or sneezing, you could wear the masks. So I think, Madam Speaker, we've taken reasonable care in order for us to safeguard. Social distancing is 1 meter away from each other. And if you can see, my Chief Whip is way than a meter away from me. I appreciate what you've done in this.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker.
Ensure that it happens. And therefore, Madam Speaker,
on a point of order. On a point of order.
No, no. Councillor Mjatau. No, that conduct, including councillors. No. We are not going to debate. Anybody who feels Uguti is threatened, we can't be debating issues. Order, order,
Speaker,
order. Order. Councillor Dilanye, please help us.
Speaker, can I just say?
Please help us, Councillor Mjatau.
Strike. Strike.
Order. You are out of order. Councillors,
Speaker.
councillors, I don't want anybody to actually mess up with this meeting. This is, I'm not going to allow anybody to misbehave in this council. I've already read the rule, and we have taken precautionary measures and controls as this council. Anybody who feels threatened by what has been put in place, or those who are not wearing a mask, to allow democracy to happen, those people who feel that they are not safe to be inside the house, we've got sufficient quorum, please feel free to do so. Please feel free to do so, because we cannot be held at ransom. Continue, Executive Mayor.
Alderwoman Patricia Khumalo, Madam Speaker, our Chief Whip of Council, Councillor Jongizizwe Dlabati, members of the Mayoral Committee that are here, Chair of Chairs of the Oversight Committee, all leaders of political parties in Council, our honorable councillors in 3 separate venues, our City Manager, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, leaders of business, labor and civil society, fellow residents of Ekurhuleni, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a great pleasure to stand before you on the occasion of delivering what is undoubtedly one of the most important addresses in the calendar of our beautiful city. The State of the City's address captures the most succinctly our aspiration and serves as a reminder of our commitment to the people of this dynamic city, the city of Ekurhuleni. We are sincerely grateful to Council and to the people of Ekurhuleni for once again entrusting us with the responsibility of accounting for the work that we've done, and for giving us an audience to unpack our plans to accelerate service delivery in the year ahead. It is also an honor and privilege that we do not take for granted as leaders of the executive. I therefore wish to submit that effective metropolitan governance is called upon for it as a functional region as a whole is to reach its full potential, hence the idea of community-based planning and processes we strive to bring along the society in general on issues of service delivery as we move forward. Ekurhuleni is a polycentric city which requires innovative space development strategies and governance structure of special type in order to meet circumstances of rigorous transformation of physical structure as well as our spatial pattern. It was in 2000 that this city came into existence in a unique and the first of its kind mega in South African history. The amalgamation of 9 towns and 11 administrations came together. We delivered the State of the City address on the 20th anniversary of this. This is why we have themed this SOCA of this year as follows: 20 years of the responsive and modern public service partner that foster change towards building a better Ekurhuleni. It is a theme that reflects the coming of age of this city, celebrating its responsiveness to service delivery issues, and also it is a significant role in fostering transformative and radical change in building of a better city. The last 20 years has been characterized by unmatched dedication on part of various administrations of the city. It has seen radical transformation in the lives of ordinary people, particularly those that are in townships and informal settlement who have historically been held in the margin of existence. The exponential growth in the population size demonstrates that the city is a destination of choice for many who are seeking better life for themselves and their families. This growth is a source of both challenges and opportunity. Above all, it is a stamp of approval on the work that has been done over the past 20 years. Work that is geared towards building a local economy that grows in the hands of through a sustainable investment and strategic partnership with private sector and civil society. The city of Ekurhuleni that was inherited by our first ever mayor, the late Ambassador Bavumile Vilakazi, is not the same city that we find ourselves in. Ambassador Vilakazi and his successors, namely Honorable Dumankosi, Honorable Ntombi Mikhwe, and Honorable Mondli Kungubele, inherited a city confronted with significant challenges arising out of historic separate development. The establishment of this city was a logical conclusion to a protracted struggle by a democratic government of South Africa to annihilate the vestiges of apartheid past, a past that continues to find expression in our spatiality. Merging these historic and fragmented locales into one city, the democratic government succeeded in undermining the legacy of separate development that had made it improbable to bring about meaningful material change in the lives of oppressed majority, who to this day continue to navigate this difficult, informed by the legacy. We are the place of peace, not only because we are able to defeat the violence and terror of the apartheid regime, and those who are, because we continue to demonstrate, touch on the success stories of our city. We deliver this policy statement 3 days before the Human Rights Day, a day that is etched in the archives of collective memory, in which we remember brutal massacre of our people in Sharpeville and Langa, killed for protesting against a savage regime that had no regard for values of human life. This day in our history we have overcome, and of what we should never again become, and why we have a moral obligation to defend this democracy at all costs. Sadly, Madam Speaker, this policy statement is made at a time when the whole world is grappling with the issue of coronavirus. We've seen how this pandemic, the intervention and clear directive given by President Ramaphosa for declaring the national state of disaster is a move that clearly demonstrates that we as government are compassionate and prioritizes the lives of our people. As part of the city's immediate contribution to curb the coronavirus in our space, we have resolved to use our emergency funds to procure the vaccine Interferon B from Cuba and other related medicine and vaccines elsewhere, so that we can ensure that the current state is kept. Obviously, this is subject to approval by approval of the Medical Control Council, which is a relevant authority which will actually have to give us permission to go ahead. I must state, Madam Speaker, that this drug, once purchased, will be administered by our professionals. All this is being done in consultation with the MSc of Health in Gauteng, Dr. Bandile Masuku. After this council meeting, I will be announcing further extraordinary measures that the city will be employing in trying to deal with this pandemic. At the present moment, we have 4 confirmed cases of coronavirus in Ekurhuleni, and our health authorities are dealing with the matter. We remain vigilant in monitoring the situation, and we are ready to work with national and provincial government to combat the spread of this disease. As we do this, we reiterate our call for our people not to panic and follow the guidelines issued by government with regard to high standard of hygiene. In the meantime, Mr. Speaker, we have set up the Joint Operations Center, which is monitoring the situation and giving the administration blow-by-blow reports in terms of what is happening in our space. And we can assure our citizens that, and the government as a whole, that we are on top of the situation. At this point, I wish to appeal to members of the community to work with us as we work towards managing this pandemic. Madam Speaker, the month of April marks 27 years anniversary of the passing of the passing of Chris Hani, who was brutally assassinated. We must thank the Minister of Justice for continuously ensuring that those who murdered this revolutionary leader remains in prison. An assassination so devastating to the quest for liberation that it threatened to plunge our country into civil war. As we commemorate the life and times of Comrade Chris Hani, we do so convinced that Sonyane would have been proud of the track record of this municipality towards the realization of what is called the Triple H campaign for the provision of decent housing, quality health care, and our efforts in fighting hunger. I am happy to announce that the Don Park home of Chris Hani has now been declared the heritage site. And the family museum depicting the life and times of the stalwart will be opened on the 10th of April 2020 this year. The opening of the museum will present a new tourism and economic opportunity for those living in the neighborhood, and as a city, we invite them to sponsor ideas on how we can make the facility even more bigger success as we work with them. Madam Speaker, this is a penitentiary state of the city under the administration. A year from now, we'll be delivering our last address in this council to account for the totality of the 5 years that our voters have given us. Our people mandated us to provide them with decent housing, proper road, and quality services. They've asked us to tackle corruption and expand healthcare services, amongst others. The people further appealed to us, amongst others, to ensure that we make informal settlement more livable so that they can restore human dignity. We had this mandate and came up with a pro-poor program aimed at fast-tracking and sustaining service delivery. An action plan to achieve this outcome during this term of office was developed. We've put in place the manifesto that was informed by the wishes of our people. As previously alluded to, at the heart of this pro-poor program has always been the landmark of Siyakuba Mayoral Outreach Program. This program has made a tremendous impact on fast-tracking service delivery within our municipality, whilst ensuring that we improve turnaround time on the public complaints that we receive. This was a deliberate act by our administration to have all our employees do more work on the ground than sitting in their offices. Madam Speaker, I wish to take this council in terms of the report around the governance cluster, firstly, stating that we must appreciate that the system that we have put in place to deal with CAPEX challenges are bearing fruits, while the counterparts in the city of Cape Town, Johannesburg, and the city of Tshwane have struggled to spend. They've struggled to spend, with the former sitting at about 2 billion of unspent grant. Our city has recorded 94.3% CAPEX expenditure against the 95 planned target. The overall spending of grant was at 94%, amounting to about 2.67 billion of the total capped grant of 2.197 billion. Through our accelerated effort of the city, all our CAPEX grants were spent 100%, apart from PTNG as NDPG. Challenges resulting on the non-spending were, amongst others, the community disruption that we have witnessed, but I must say that as the administration, we are now on top of the situation. In addition to this, our liquidity position remained greatly satisfactory. The city generated a positive cash flow of about 3 billion rand from its operating activities. The cash on hand is about 3.4 billion, and 1.9 billion is invested to the repayment of our long-term borrowings, and the cash on hand is average 30 days by the year end. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, we have invested about 1 billion rand on our own revenue in the capital replacement and repaid a long-term loan for about 400 million rand. As a second quarter that ended on the 31st December 2019, Our total current asset amounted to about 13.5 billion, while our current liabilities amounted to about 8.4 billion rand. The current ratio, therefore, is 1.6:1, which indicates that our city can meet working capital requirements. The state of our entities, Madam Speaker, I must state that remains a great concern to us, and we are in the process of finding lasting solutions to ensure that we deal with challenges that confront our SOEs. Madam Speaker, the Auditor General recently detailed for us what the fiscal health of our city is. The city has again achieved the unqualified audit opinion. It is general auditor's judgment that our municipality's financial statements are fairly and appropriately presented without any identified exception and in compliance with general acceptable accounting principle. The city has achieved unqualified audit opinion with clean audit on financial statement. I must state, Madam Speaker, that over 2 successive years, we have had 0 unauthorized expenditure, 0 fruitless and wasteful expenditure, and irregular expenditure has decreased from 215 million to about 5 million in the last financial year. And as stated that our audit is clean on the financial statement. On our human resource systems, we are on the right track. And this was recently confirmed by South African Board of Personnel Practitioners, which awarded the city with an overall winner of the public sector HR standard in 2019. It is further pointed out that our healthy relationship with our stakeholders through the local labor forum, especially the trade unions, has led to the stability in the workplace, thus ensuring that more work gets done and we avoid unnecessary stoppages, especially from our staff. As we migrate to become the smart city, our efforts to roll out the enterprise resource plan, the ERP, which will mitigate all our systems while ensuring that quality management of information is done, is entering its final stage. It's now entering its final stage. The intervention plus the speedy rollout of the broadband will ensure that our city's effectiveness and automated way of conducting business is upon us. In actual fact, we continue to improve our service delivery app, which has made reporting and the turnaround time to service delivery interruption much easier. The facility already enjoys about 133,000 users, and our target is to double this figure within the next 6 months. Furthermore, we look forward to introducing the 24-hour news portal, which will link to our new app. The portal will ensure that our people get updated information in real time. Fellow councillors, our work cannot be complete if we do not pay special attention to risk factors which may derail our work. As such, our risk management team must continue to assist us with proactive situational analysis to avoid unexpected external forces that may derail our governance issues. With regard to infrastructure cluster, Madam Speaker, since the beginning of our term of office, we have steadfastly stated that our key priorities is to ensure that every citizen's life in this city is of value and that our people live in dignity. It was very touching and emotional moment when the city handed to Ugogo Sarang Ngozo, a 103-year-old lady who had become a first-time owner in Mackenzieville Extension 2. To date, Ugogo can sleep peacefully in a safe house because it is comfortable. We are determined to realize our aspirations of the Freedom Charter. Having long had an understanding, we have always prioritized the electrification of the cities, especially including the informal settlement. Since the beginning of our term, we had reported that we've got 119 informal settlement. I'm happy, Madam Speaker, to report back that 34 of the 119 informal settlements have now been electrified, benefiting way over 50,000 people within the city of Ekurhuleni, and they are all now enjoying electricity for the first time. This includes the additional 6,546 informal shacks that have been electrified in the ESCOM licensed areas. Since the beginning of term of this office, a number of informal settlements were added into the electrification project. By June this year, an additional 22,000 homes will also be connected, bringing the total number of the connected to grid since 2000 to about 93,000 within the city. In our quest to minimize the threat of people becoming victims of crime, we have rolled out 3,646 street lights across the city and 295 high-mast lighting, mainly in previously disadvantaged areas, as well as the new establishment. In the State of the City's address delivered last month, President Cyril Ramaphosa focused greatly on electricity challenges that confronted our country. He correctly asserted that the load shedding of the past few months had a debilitating effect on the country and severe setback our efforts to rebuild the economy and create jobs. Importantly, it disrupt people's life, causing frustration, inconvenience, and hardship. We had President Ramaphosa clearly when he said that municipalities can now have powers to procure their own energy sources. We welcome this initiative we welcome this initiative we welcome this intervention as it speaks to our priority of boosting our grid and stabilize the supply to our citizens and our industry. In the new financial year, we will finalize the implementation of our cities program to purchase electricity from the appointed power producers. I must say, report to council that a total of 46 companies have already been awarded a tender to generate additional energy into our city. We're looking at green energy, but we are going to diversify to ensure that we look in all other forms of energy so that we can ensure security of supply to our citizens. Madam Speaker, cable theft remains the challenge that destabilizes the effective functionality of government, business as well as community at large. However, I am pleased to mention that we are now deploying a new technology to fight cable theft, and we're also seeking an alternative to copper to minimize power theft because this copper is traded illegally in other spaces. Since August last year, over 116 arrests have already been made, and we wish to reiterate that we plan to take no prisoners in dealing with cable theft, and all those who are involved in cable theft should be warned that we are now upping our game in ensuring that we save energy in our space. Madam Speaker, our Aqualib program, which aims at addressing the security of water supply, is on track. In this regard, we are one of the first cities in the country that have embarked on the program to construct about 29 reservoirs and towers simultaneously. We are spending a tune of 1.2 billion to do this, Madam Speaker. One of these will be the biggest in the continent and among the biggest in the world. It will be commissioned this year in June, Madam Speaker. Dust and cranes can be seen in various parts of the city as we work to deliver on these projects. 3 are already completed and commissioned in the previous financial year, and 4 more will be complete in June this year. And the remainder of these are at the planning stage so that they can also be constructed and delivered by the end of our term of office. The infrastructure will add an additional, the water infrastructure, Madam Speaker, will add an additional 417 megalitres of storage to expand the existing 954 megalitres so that we can ensure security of supply of water to our people. Recognizing the importance of saving water, we have done well in improving water losses from 34.3% in the previous financial year to 30.79% in this current financial year. While this is much welcome move, we agree that we need to do more on War on Leaks program so that we can cap water losses within the city. In a water-scarce country that is battling with water shortages, this is significant intervention that will go a long way in contributing in saving water in our city. As we continue bringing dignity to our people, we are still providing mobile chemical toilets, which is 1:5. We will, however, soon be exploring sustainable alternative sanitation technologies, and we invite those with creative ideas on what we can do, especially in the council-owned land, that we start exploring alternative, because our people cannot only rely on chemical toilets as we continue providing dignity to them. Madam Speaker, as I turn to road and stormwater, for the past 15 years, we have invested over 6 billion on the road infrastructure upgrade program, to a tune of about 5 billion that was invested in asset management to keep our 8,500 kilometers of road network in good and desirable condition. It must further be remembered that from the time we assumed office, we made it clear that we would have a deliberate biasness towards the eastern region because the area had been overlooked over time when we were delivering road infrastructure. Amongst the major projects underway currently with regard to road infrastructure is the 30-kilometer of non-motorized transport road that has been completed, the 27 kilometers of new constructed road across the city, and 309 kilometers of existing road network that has been rehabilitated over the past 4 years. Furthermore, a total of 121 kilometers of roads were paved as part of pavement management system, making the movement of our people much more easy. Madam Speaker, a number of catalytic projects have been lined up for implementation in the coming year. These include the doubling of Berry-Marais Road. The modeling and planning has been completed in various state organs, and the actual construction will begin in the new financial year of 2020-21. We've also, Madam Speaker, have gone on to introduce a bridge management system, and we have a total of 198 bridges that have been assessed within our city. We took this proactive stance in an effort to mitigate any possible threat in our city. And in this regard, we've identified 12 of the 198 bridges that requires urgent attention, and we've called on the administration to make sure that proper plans are in place to make sure that we deal with these defective bridges. We will, in the new year, start with the rehabilitation of the Gulfspread, a project we aim to implement in different phases. The feasibility study for the widening of Nyoni Park Road has been concluded. A construction will get underway in 2021 financial year. The PWV 15 is expected to be completed in 3 phases over the next decade. This is a 35-kilometer long road, dual carriage. Preliminary design have now been completed, and we are working with the provincial government to ensure that we deal with the Gilolis congestion that is being experienced through this road. The upgrading of N12 Davidson CBD interchange is expected to start soon. Following the resolution of an outstanding matter with Sandral, we think we are ready, Madam Speaker, to go ahead with this particular project. We have a responsibility to provide adequate and sufficient public transport system. In this regard, 4 years ago, we vowed to fast-track the completion of the bus rapid transit for ease movement of our people between homes and workplaces. Since the launch of the system, we have moved swiftly to continue accelerating the rolling out of this service. This has resulted in the construction of dedicated lanes from Rabasutu Hall to R25 Zurfontein Interchange. We've purchased additional 40 buses and will be completing the 9 stations by the end of this financial year. We have inspected progress, Madam Speaker. I must say that work is really currently underway. At the present moment, the BRT operate between Tembisa and Isando and Tembisa and OR Tambo International Airport. The extension of the system to OR Tambo resulted in the steady increase of the ridership from an average 11,000 to about 70,000 during this period. We've also extended the service from Tembisa to Bartlett Road in Boksburg due to the need that has been identified in servicing the people that are working in the industrial park around that area. The significant increase in the use of the BRT service demonstrates the hunger of our people to safer, more reliable and affordable public transport system. Efforts are at an advanced stage to ensure that the completion of the Vosloorus as well as the Blugam View taxi rank contractors have already been appointed, and these facilities will be completed by the end of this financial year, and they will be open to public as we move forward. It is now a matter of fact, Madam Speaker, that waste removal challenges has been on the rise in the city, in line with the increased number of population, new township establishment, and the immigration, which has seen huge leap in the number of backyard dwellers seeking jobs and economic opportunities within our city. This has put a strain on waste removal efforts, mainly around the collection. This has also resulted in the disruption of services in some parts of the city and recently experienced in Kempton Park, amongst other areas. In response to these challenges, a comprehensive strategy was developed and is being rolled out incrementally to date. This problem has stabilized, and continuously we are monitoring the work to ensure that the problem is dealt with once and for all. A new five-year waste collection contract will soon be advertised with new improved features aimed at increasing our efficiency. The contract will cover 8 broad areas and aimed at improving our service based on recently adopted turnaround strategy. We're further proposing that the introduction of 2-shift system, which will ensure that our city remain clean at all times. Cheers, Madam Speaker. We have remodeled the Clean City project, which is now underway. The program has resulted in the appointment of 1,172 people. These are mainly brigades, supervisors, and customer care coordinators, which will ensure that the environment is clean and is properly looked after within our communities. The program intends to intensify the partnership with communities in keeping their own wards clean. Beneficiaries will not only be engaged in cleaning, but will also be instrumental in promoting education and awareness on issues that are affecting our environment. Our efforts to providing our people with quality recreational facilities while promoting a healthy lifestyle are underway. The city is rolling out multi-purpose ideal parks and maintain the existing parks, which we believe are instrumental in protecting and preserving the nature of our environment. Madam Speaker, I am happy to announce that 4 parks have been constructed and completed in Marais Park, in Boksburg Lake, in Velgedag, and Palm Ridge, amongst others. We continue to pursue our big ideas and focused development agenda. Our quest to establish the world-class botanical garden in Ekurhuleni is well underway. Our preliminary design and consultation phase is indicating that it is possible that in Gilolis we could have this kind of project. It is important to understand that the city is pursuing the idea of a botanical garden because it will have a significant benefit for the residents of our city, as well as a positive impact on the environment. Botanical gardens devote their resources to the study and the conservation of the fauna and flora, providing opportunities for learning, research, and overall maintenance of healthy living. The city is also on the verge of pursuing the establishment of the zoo for the recreational, tourism, and educational purposes, amongst others. Madam Speaker, we are proposing 3 private cemeteries to be commercialized through our SCM process. We are further conducting studies for the provision of alternative burial method, which will include but not limited cremation, Madam Speaker. Dr. Chilidzi Rachitanga has argued, and I quote, the racial spatial inequality nexus makes it possible to understand the link between racial exclusion and spatial formation, since this is a major defining characteristics of the legacy of apartheid colonialism in South Africa. It proposes a solution. Its proposed solution is a total national spatial reconstruction to be spanned by creation of many new megacities region that will germinate new economies for new Africa and the rest of the continent. With regard to city planning, noting the above, it's rediscovered. The city of Ekurhuleni has approved the Municipal Spatial Development Framework in 2015 and is in the process of completing the gap analysis that inform the next generation of MSDF, as well as the lower level of regional spatial development framework, from which the reconfiguration of our development patterns, particularly of human settlement, mega projects, and our economy, will be anchored. The purpose of this drive is aimed at undermining the apartheid racial development legacy. We have approved the Ekurhuleni Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan, which outlined the sectoral infrastructure need against the aligned financial requirements for long-term infrastructure development in line with the provision of the GDS and MSDF over the next 30 years, to enable more development to take place in places where restrictive of the city has. We are going to unlock 4,900 hectares of land deemed to be dolomitic in Katlehong, Vosloorus, Springs to Duza. We have also employed sinkhole contractors to assist us with the rehabilitation process, and accelerating plans to address the high-risk sinkholes will yield results in previously disadvantaged areas so that we can expand human settlement in those areas. Advanced bulk investment in road, sewer, water pipelines, and substation to enable mega projects and strategic urban development that would not be realized in the short term or would have been costly to the private sector. The return on investment on rate of the city is expected to be about 1 billion by 2021, and will by 2021. Through township regularization, we have realized about over 95,000 stands that have enabled development, especially shops for locals, which will soon make available for our residents. The city's future spatial trajectory will ensure that the historic challenges are aligned to the budgeted for in realizing sustainable cities. In real estate, as part of the Rapid Land Release Program, the following projects will be undertaken. There is a capital injection of over 5 billion in the development of the 40 strategic land parcels that are being released. And I must say that 3 of the batches have already been released, and we're inviting private sector to take advantage of these opportunities to make sure that they can deliver on these projects, and we will be outlining them in the next term. 4 public-private partnerships have been approved by National Treasury, and 2 are already being pursued, namely the Germiston Parkgate as well as the Civic Tower. We are going to change this place here where we are, our regional headquarters. In all these projects, 30% of the investment will be contracted to SMEs within the city. Furthermore, it is our efforts to encourage investors to do business with the city. We have resolved to give these investors 24 months rental holiday or incentive as part of our recently approved council policy within the city. Since the dawn of democracy, our government has been hard at work trying to reverse the demonic legacy that our people had to endure. At the center of our intervention has always been the provision of decent livelihood for our people. We continue arguing that housing is not only a basic human right, but a foundation on which human dignity is built. In the past 20 years, we have migrated from just providing a housing unit to human settlement, which is loosely translated means that we are now building communities that have social amenities such as schools, clinics, and so on. The new way of thinking has also seen us rolling out more livable informal settlement with better services and amenities. The city of Ekurhuleni is deeply passionate about resolving housing backlog that have faced us over time. Hence our ambitious targets that we have set for ourselves of building over 100,000 housing units and 59,000 service stands. I must report, Madam Speaker, that 29,405 housing units have been delivered between ourselves and the provincial government. And 17,944 service stands have been delivered. We are now currently busy verifying those units that have been delivered by private developers so that we can also give full account, because we give approvals in that regard. It is our resolve and determination to do our best to realize these targets, Madam Speaker. I must report to Council that 9 mega projects are already underway. We've also added additional 3, namely Brakpan Old Location, SLN Park, and Palmy Fontaine, which will yield a total of additional 18,434 units, taking the total number of the houses that will deliver by the end of the term or just in the new term to about 216,670 units over the period. In actual fact, Madam Speaker, recently we've had a short turning of one of these projects, namely the Tembisa Extension 25 mega projects, that is going to deliver 3,510 units when it complete. We are starting with delivering of over 500 units amongst those, using the alternative build technologies amongst others. Cheers. Madam Speaker, we have since been awarded a level 2 accreditation, which means that we can now build houses as requested by the provincial government. In an effort to realize our priority of providing land distribution and security of tenure for our people, we have released 8,208 title deeds since the beginning of our term of office. We still have an additional 14,833 title deeds which must also be distributed, and we commit to make sure that we deliver them by the end of term. This will require all 224 councillors in their respective wards to work with us to ensure that this project is delivered. We continue to accelerate the proclamation of our black townships to enable our people to enjoy full security of benefit of their properties. Madam Speaker, in the city of Ekurhuleni, our policies are geared towards the development of the most vulnerable in society. This is expressed by our allocation where we direct most of our investment in the infrastructure development. Through our social labor plan, we have developed partnership with AfriSem to construct about 20 houses for people with disability, youth-headed households in Mackenzie. The project has commenced in December and will be handing those houses that are coming from the private sector as part of their contribution in ensuring that we bring about development in our city. On social cluster, in the past, we have taken pride in the increased number of people accessing our healthcare service, our healthcare facilities. As a matter of fact, a demonstration of healthy community can only be derived from a decrease in number of people seeking healthcare assistance. It is our resolve as an administration that we need a clear program that will encourage healthy living, notwithstanding the fact that we must forever strive to provide quality healthcare at any given time as a city. In realizing the above, we have continued to provide innovative ways to render primary healthcare to our people. That is why we have recently introduced 11 Pili box at different clinics over and above the 115 chronic medication pickup points that already exist. By the way, the Pili Box Smart Locker facility is the first and only one of its kind in Africa. Amongst the clinics that already have operational facility in the city include Jamestown, Winnie Mandela, Polar Park, Philip Moyo, and Davidson Main Clinic. We have launched an additional 5 Pili Box facilities in J. Tumane, Esangweni, Etafeni, and Zagane. There's also plan to extend them to malls across the city so that our people can be able to access, those who need chronic medication can be able to access these facilities. These interventions have revolutionized the access of medication to over 170,000 patients already, while at the same time reducing the queues that people spend attending clinics. The city has also made tremendous gains in reducing mother-to-child HIV transmission from 0.9% in 2008-2009 financial year to 0.7% this year under review. We remain on course to ensure and are optimistic that we are going to eliminate this kind of transmission. In this way, we will ensure that our newborn babies have favorable chances of survival. In preparation for the National Health Insurance, we have actively participating in the Ideal Clinic, which is a national project. These clinics are facilities which are good infrastructure with adequate staff, enough medicine and supplies, including good administrative processes. I must report to Council that all our 93 clinics in the city are continuously assessed and have achieved positive outcome in this process. In our effort to access our people in the far-flung area and underdeveloped areas, we have a fleet of about 15 mobile clinics that are spread throughout the city to ensure that primary health care is available to our people around the clock. We've also continued to open about 9 clinics to operate about 24 hours on the 24-hour basis and 18 clinics on Saturdays, and 2 clinics are operating on 12-hour basis, and these numbers will increase as soon as some of the resources are available for us to do so. In a quest to try and push back the frontiers of poverty over the past 20 years, all administration of the city have demonstrated a commitment to provide relief to the poorest household. This is evident by our commitment to increase the number of deserving applications on our indigent household database as part of our interim poverty alleviation measures. This include providing effective provision of service to communities who are classified as indigent household by utilizing a technology platform that is seamless, integrated, and robust. With the scourge of drug and substance abuse ravaging our communities, the city will continue working with the provincial government and other stakeholders in turning the status quo around. In partnership with Gauteng provincial government, we have established 4 rehabilitation centers in Palm Ridge, Dugatole, Alra Park, and Mutsamai Clinic. And these drug centers must be utilized to ensure that we save lives of the youth in particular. Furthermore, we continue giving special attention to early childhood development in our effort to invest in education that will develop these youngsters, which are future leaders of tomorrow. Madam Speaker, we continue to promote our rich heritage. Special attention had to be given to the renaming of street and major roads after the stalwarts of the liberation struggle and other people who are deserving. Indeed, various street and roads have now been renamed after Mama Winnie, Madikizela Mandela, Amina Kachalia, Thabo Mbeki, George Bizos, Thomas Nkobi, amongst others. We are busy now engaging with the provincial and national government on the renaming of this road, so especially those that fall outside of our authority. To immortalize the legacy of the eminent leaders of the South African people, Oliver Reginald Tambo, who is a free person of the city, the building in which we are hosting this State of the City's address was once known as a Gemistic Civic Center. The precinct, however, of both the legislature and the administrative leg, as well as the executive, is now officially named in honor of our great icon, Oliver Reginald Tambo, in the main. Other monuments that have been renamed include the former Germiston Theatre, which is today bear the name of Dumisani Masilela, an extraordinary young person, son of the soil, an artist, musician, and a talented sportsman whose young life was cut short in a car hijacking incident in Tembisa. The facility has gone on to host a number of shows since it was officially opened. For the first time in history in the city of Ekurhuleni, in July, we are going to host a memorial lecture of the late Dr. Godfrey Piche, a former president of the ANC Youth League and an academic who hails from Davidton. Of more interest to note is that his grave has been nominated to be declared as a heritage site. Turning to sports, heritage and recreation, the city has also made great strides to promote culture of sports in our communities. Some of the key highlights include the Kiddies Olympic, which attract hundreds of children on an annual basis here in Ekurhuleni, and the annual Disc Challenge, which is a game that emanates from the community games that are normally hosted in December this year. We have also invested millions in upgrading various stadiums, and these stadiums are going to be renamed because we continue to produce heroes and heroines in our city. Madam Speaker, with regard to our dams, our firefighting capabilities have been boosted by the delivery of 8 new specialized firefighting rescue and vehicles that were delivered in January 2020. And those of you who attended the parade, you saw them in display because we couldn't drive the cars today as part of the effort of complying with the requirement that has been set by the President. The delivery coincided with the opening of the old Germiston fire station, which has since been turned into a museum. Additionally, the Olifanfontein fire station will be operationalized before the end of the year. Furthermore, we have built 9 new fire stations, mainly in previously disadvantaged areas, in order to improve turnaround times to fires and other disasters, especially in our townships. The city continues to build its capability to effectively respond to major fires and disasters in and around the city. In this regard, we've already possessed, amongst others, the high-volume water relay system, which is the first of its kind in the continent. Our training academy in Boksburg is already attracting an interest for our neighboring countries such as Botswana and Namibia, amongst others, to come here for training because our team of dams are excelling. With regard to EMPD, in an effort to fight crime and strengthen the law enforcement in our city, we have embarked on the process of building the capacity of our law enforcement agencies. There are 500 recruits currently in training for the Metropolitan Police. We're also in the process of recruiting an additional 100 Metro Police, bringing the total number of police to about 3,500. You will recall that when we came here, there was only 1,700 metros. We are now moving towards 3,500 metros in the city. We continue to address the need for safer communities through rolling out, amongst others, of new well-equipped metropolis precinct as and when need arises. In this, Madam Speaker, we've built 10 new metropolis precincts over the past 20 years to bring our crime-fighting efforts closer to communities. This is a material evidence of our commitment to combat crime in our cities, for we recognize the safety and security are the most basic job of government that we must do. All these efforts will amount to nothing if communities do not join hands. While the agenda has been driving service delivery, the time has come for us to start investing more of our time in developing our capabilities of our within the city and to move our country forward. We commit ourselves to addressing the behalf of community members. The provision of financial assistance is one of many initiatives that the city is implementing to achieve its goal of increasing skills base within the region. Over the past 4 years, we have allocated 400 million rand to bursaries that have benefited 8,189 students in the city. Over 100 million on an annual basis is being invested, and 5 million of that has been allocated to about 19 students who are part of the Breda University International Scholarship Program in the Netherlands. Madam Speaker, I'm happy that an additional 449 local graduates of financial year 20. Qualifications are expensive and speak to the commodification of learning opportunities. In many ways, qualification system objectifies students and produces second-class professionals who hold a qualification that is not relevant, required, or useful skill in the main. In contrast, Madam Speaker, a system aimed at educating and not only qualifying students would focus on holistic development, knowledge, and supplement the imbalances of the past, and inferior secondary grooming is an issue that we are trying to address. We therefore argue, Madam Speaker, that the challenges are immense since correcting the injustices of the past has to start with early childhood development. That said, South Africa has many older learners trapped in the cycle of education poverty through ineffective formative experiences. We must take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, as this council, to thank President Cyril Ramaphosa for the bold announcement of the new generation of University of Science and Technology here in Ekurhuleni. We have an opportunity to collectively redress historic and current injustices to enable this generation to be whole and economic. What is now urgent is for us as this council to push for the enactment of this new institution, engagement with the National Department of Higher Education on the methodology of teaching. What is being proposed, Madam Speaker, is a Swiss dual apprenticeship method, which is the university from a private developer around the Germiston-Boksburg area, where the university is likely to be located. This land was donated to us for free. With this, we seek to reposition education and training not only in Ekurhuleni, but in South Africa through a well-researched approach. We dare not fail our youth, which constitute our prospective future as a nation. With an investment on land demarcated of about 400 hectares, the city of Ekurhuleni will be home to a Disney Africa, a first of its kind in the soil of Africa. Throughout the continent, there is no such theme or amusement park of magnitude. Currently, Disney network stretches across the first California, Florida, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Tokyo, to mention a few. The city must never stop these ambitious dreams, which are aimed at transforming our area into one of the most exciting cities of the world. When we spoke about the university, we were told we were dreaming. Once again, we dream about Disneyland Africa here in the city of Ekurhuleni. The greatest revolutionary, Thomas Sankara, would not have captured our situation as Africans better than when he said, I quote, It took the madmen of yesterday for us to act with extreme clarity of today. I want to be one of those madmen. We must dare not invent the future, close quote. Indeed, Madam Speaker, inventing the future by continuously dreaming for the future. Disney Africa in the city of Ekurhuleni will serve as a world-class entertainment center, drastically increasing tourism domestically, whilst attracting tourists from other African countries and the rest of the world. The city has a capacity to implement a project of this nature, as it will leverage off the existing world-class infrastructure, such as the OR Tambo International Airport, the Gautrain, prime residential areas, glitzy entertainment venues, and recreational facilities. This will happen in our lifetime, Madam Speaker. In addition to this, to tourism sector, Disney Africa in Ekurhuleni presents several opportunities for the development and enhancement of other priority sectors that will contribute to the economy, such as construction, real estate, ICT, creative industries, further creating opportunities amongst many other sectors for our citizens. In 2019, the automotive export manual indicated that automotive sector is regarded as one of the most global of all industries, with value chain spanning multiple countries across the globe. The automotive sector contributes 6.8% towards the country's gross domestic product, and continues to reflect the power of combining in ensuring that we ensure economic growth within our space. Coming from the automotive sector, the Formula One is one of the most viewed sports across the globe, with approximately 1.77 billion in 85 countries per annum. Out of 21 countries that host the Formula One race across the globe, only British Grand Prix is funded by government. The remaining 20 races are funded through public-private partnership or exclusively through private funding. According to an article that has been published in the Forbes magazine in March, the total construction cost of a standard Formula One racing track is approximately $270 million, taking into consideration an inflation rate over the next 6 years of 6% per annum. The construction cost can cost to about $322 million, which translates to about 5.2 billion rand if we were to use the rand. However, carefully constructed along other sidelines, event opportunities, the construction of Formula One racetrack, and other hosting actually Grand Prix at the city has a potential of injecting over 25 billion rand of the South African revenue in the period, and also creating about 9,000 jobs if created. We are toying with the idea of finding amongst the strategic land parcel expertise in the automotive in Cape Town. And we say in the city, we will attempt all these initiatives to make sure that we make our city better, because we believe it is possible. Honorable Councillors, we intend to unlock the development potential of the OR Tambo International Airport and the surrounding areas by increasing the number of aviation-oriented business and commercial services cluster around the airport and along the strategic highway corridor. We continue to roll out the Aerotropolis master plan. In this regard, we have established and tasked the OR Tambo International Airport Infrastructure Task Team to implement the OR Tambo Airport and Aerotropolis master plan as part of our contribution, as you have heard that even the Minister of Finance did announce our work around the master plan. The project currently underway under implementation includes the AXA Western Precinct, which is presently under construction. This is a commercial development situated adjacent to our Tambo Airport. AXA is spending 4.5 billion as we speak in developing phase 1 of the Western Precinct, comprising of 3 to 6 story buildings that they are building at the airport. Additional feasibility study for the Rhodesfield OR Tambo link, a feasibility study has been completed, and the project is now at the preliminary design stage, amongst others. We We also are busy at Tambo Springs Inland Port implementing, and all the statutory approvals and fundings have been granted. The appointment of bidders is now concluded, and the bulk infrastructure is already underway. As part of the 2019-2020 financial year, we announced that the development of the investment book for the city, which will combine both public and private sector driven strategy on the SLP. Entrepreneurship has been identified as an important contributor to the economy in terms of employment, growth, innovation, and competitiveness. It is in this context that the Pitching Booster Program will focus on sectors that are labor-intensive and have a potential to scale up, and above all align to the city strategies. In the last year's State of the City, we pronounced on the re-engineering of the enterprise development environment in the city in order to stimulate the economy and unlock economic potential for our communities. On the 31st of November last year, Council approved the groundbreaking policy that gave effect to the 120 million Ekurhuleni Community Enterprise Development Fund. And some of you were laughing like this, and it happened right under your nose, and we'll continue to make sure that it is possible. The fund has since attracted over 700 applications under the scheme Panda, and 316 applications under Shimilani, and application under the applications that we've received. The applications stand a chance of receiving between 50 and 6 million rand as soon as they are evaluated. The funds seek to unlock and open opportunities for non-traditional economic players who in turn will trigger economic activities and enable the economy to become more dynamic, competitive, and inclusive. This will enable the facilitation of job creation in a sustainable manner at a cost-efficient rate to ensure inclusive economic growth. We have successfully made available at least 56 agricultural farms comprising of 2,747 hectares, valued at about 120 million for the benefit of emerging farmers. As this stage is currently undergoing the supply chain process, we envisage that these farms will be released before the end of the year to the rightful owners who are going to make sure that the land is productive. We intend giving away all the 190 farms that are owned by government, and we are going to be talking to the national government and provincial government to ensure that they give us necessary support so that farms, implements, seed are made available for our people. In anticipation of the farm release program, we have progressed to rename the Springs Fresh Produce to Ekurhuleni Fresh Produce as per the Council approval, and have successfully constructed additional 20,000 square meters of trading facilities to house the fresh produce distribution center. This approach will enable the city to increase revenue and to mainstream both commercial and emerging farmers, both by opening new market opportunities, amongst others. Honorable Speaker, it has been a long 20 years since the birth of Ekurhuleni. It has been a period in which we put a lot of hard work to ensure that we indeed uplift the standard of living for our people, while ensuring that we run a stable and capable administration. Despite many hardships we have had to come across, it gives me a great pleasure to share some of the key highlights over the past 20 years. Amongst these, when we renamed Jan Smart Aerotropolis, when we established a single city, the city of Ekurhuleni, when we conferred the freedom of the city to both OR Tambo and Adelaide Tambo and Chris Hani, when we established our very own Metropolis and the Academy, amongst others, when we introduced the IRPTN system, when we ensured that all our townships had a unified town planning scheme, and when we established 20 customer care centers that were rolled out within the city, when we migrated from provision of houses to establishment of human settlement, These are achievements that in the main mark our contribution that we have made as this collective. As we live here today, we are left with just 14 months before the end of our term. Hardly enough time, but it is time that we have plans whose in working, in doing our work. Madam Speaker, as this administration, we owe our great debt to our partners who have supported and contributed to our work since we assumed office. Does not mean that we denounce our political homes, but rather that we unite behind certain cause despite those differences, close quote. In the city of Ekurhuleni, we have been able to maintain a prioritized livelihood of men and women, a city that is deeply invested in building the responsiveness of modern public service that foster change towards building a better Ekurhuleni. Their selfless dedication to the people of Ekurhuleni would not be able to table today, or it would not have been possible. I wish to take this opportunity to particularly thank my family and my wife, Mercy Nazo Masina, who was said not to join us because of coronavirus. She would have been here, so that I thank her in person, who continues to be a pillar of my strength in the family and support me in my work. Her strength has carried me under the most difficult circumstances. Great attitude. I know it's not easy for them. They made possible not only through efforts of one person, but collective efforts, because we stand on shoulders of giants. In closing, Madam Speaker, I wish to pass the city's sincere condolences to the families of the loved ones of the late Councillor Greg Malebu and other workers of the city who perished during the last year. These men and women dedicated their lives selflessly in serving the people of the city. They were committed to the pursuit of justice, democracy, and realization of life for all. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Executive Mayor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. In preparation for the debate in terms of the standing orders, page 90, there's an annexure of proportional time allocation for debates. We're gonna break for lunch and then come back at 2 o'clock. It gives parties sufficient time to prepare for the debate. The ANC, in terms of the standing orders, is allocated 29 minutes. Democratic Alliance, 20 minutes. Economic Freedom Fighters, 10 minutes. Patriotic Alliance, 5 minutes. AIC, 5 minutes. ACDP, 5 minutes. And IRASA, 5 minutes. All in all, when we come back, we're going to take 1 hour, 40 minutes in terms of the debate. Then we close it. We'll have just a body break. Then we come back and focus on the council agenda. At this point in time, let me thank everyone who's present here, and we are adjourning the session. We'll see each other at 2 o'clock. Thank you very much. May I therefore... Oh, okay, yes, yes. Thank you very much. There will be 100 at the banquet hall. There will be a 5th, so there is. Screening, please bring them back.